So you're in love. Congratulations. You found the perfect home for the perfect price with the perfect view. What most people don't realize is those dreams can turn into a nightmare really fast if you get involved with the wrong type of home. So in this video, we're going to break down the most common mistakes and the types of homes you absolutely should avoid if you're thinking about moving to or living in San Diego. Hi, I'm Jennifer. I am your host of Living in San Diego, and I absolutely love making these videos for you. I've been a real estate advisor in San Diego for over 20 years, and I love helping people's dreams come true. But in this video, I want to talk to you about some property types that can and should in most cases be avoided, or at least you should really be aware of the challenges in these properties so you don't get caught in a huge money trap of property that you can't unload, that nobody else wants, and that might drain your bank account instead of becoming that dream lifestyle that you hoped for. So come with me, let's go break it down. I'm going to walk you through the most common and costly house types you should never buy in this market. By the end, you're going to know what are the pitfalls and how to protect yourself without ending up with buyer's remorse. Meanwhile, if you'd like to grab my San Diego free relocation guide, you can click on the link below. It's in the top pinned comment, and we've broken it down for you. We've done all the work for you, all the best schools, employers, places to live, and it's absolutely free. That's right, 100% absolutely free. So feel free to download that and/or reach out and give me a call. Most of my clients tell me they want a move-in condition, turnkey, cream puff home. Yes, but what you should avoid is those lipstick fixer-uppers. I call them putting lipstick on a pig. That's a common phrase in the industry, and we don't mean to be disrespectful when we say that. But what we mean by these are investors have come in, they've purchased these fixer homes. Now, I'm talking homes that may have been built in the early 1900s, mid 1900s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. And they've just done cosmetic upgrades to these homes. They come in, they put a fresh coat of paint, they'll fix some of the termite damage, the wood rot, put in a fresh coat of paint, slap in some quick luxury vinyl, LVP, luxury vinyl flooring, and perhaps a few fixtures, but they don't really address the systems or the bones of the house. These homes can be absolute nightmares, and I've had clients way in the past, back in the investor REO days when there was a lot of foreclosures. A couple of them bought a couple of homes from there. One of them I remember that was one of the worst. Once I figured out who they were, I was able to advise my buyers, let's not take a look at this house, or if we are going to, because its location is something that you cannot resist, then let's do really careful inspections on this and negotiate, because they did very low-end type of remodels. These homes look gorgeous from the inside, they stage them, but they often hide structural or system failures. They can mask foundation issues. They can also have old cast iron in it. They can have the electrical that has old Zinsco panels, which is 2-prong, not 3-wired or grounded outlets. They can have old roof with zero insulation, very, very common in San Diego. So what they do is they scoop up these houses for pennies on the dollar. They pay cash for them. They need to make a quick turn in this marketplace. Many of these investors do not take pride of ownership. They really don't care. It's all about the margin, and they just need to flip them. Now, there are some that actually do care about what they do, and they do quality remodels. You can tell that if you have an excellent real estate professional to point out, or you yourself have the knowledge because you're in construction or you've been in real estate before, to recognize the quality workmanship that can be done in some of these homes. So make sure that you partner with the right professional, get the right home inspectors, so that you can be best represented if you're going to purchase one of these lipstick fixer-uppers. Now moving on to the next type of house, the too good to be true bargain listings, too cheap to be true. How homes that are priced well below the market, they're tempting, but there's a reason. And then definitely in the San Diego marketplace, you know, I have people that phone me all the time and they go, Jennifer, look, I found this house for $369,000, and I think, where? You can't buy anything in San Diego for $369,000. And then I find out maybe it's out in Borrego, which is 120 degrees in the desert. Or you find some other compelling reason why these homes are just too good to be true. Most of these reasons are going to be features that would detract you from wanting to own these homes as well. For instance, they're under a freeway where you've got a lot of significant noise. They're in areas that have significant struggling gentrification, maybe higher crime rates. Maybe they have some structural issues that have been not taken care of. A common one in San Diego County is unpermitted additions. So I had a listing last fall. The seller called me down and she asked me, would I manage the property as a rental? Now, this home was in Chula Vista Otay Ranch area near the border of Mexico. It was a home built in the 1970s, and back in about 30 years ago, they had drained the pool, but they had never filled it in. They put a deck over it, so they had a wooden structure with kind of people sitting on top of it, and so that is a serious hazard. And so as not only for mosquitoes and collecting rainfall, but, very difficult hazard for children, for animals, having an unfilled in pool is just not advisable. So I declined to list or to rent that home for her, to represent it. We did end up selling it, and it was a significant challenge for buyers because of that pool, as it should have been. And many companies, mortgages will not finance on things like that. So too cheap, too good to be true. You've got to dig down and find out the reason. It doesn't mean that it may not be an opportunity for you. Just because it's cheap doesn't mean you should avoid it. However, you're going to want to figure out why. What is the reason that this home is priced well below market? And it's not just because they're desperate, because there's 10,000 investors in San Diego every single day that will scoop that house up cash if it's worth buying. Trust me when I say, if it's too good to be true, stay far away. The other thing that it can be is ownership and lien history. Lien, not as in lien, but lien as in LIEN, or a mortgage or some type of clouded title. What that means is when the ownership is transferred to a new owner, there cannot be any encumbrances on the home. Encumbrances could be easements or mortgages or contractors' liens. They could be life estates. There's all types of things that can cloud a title. So if you find the home that's two red flags are going up, do also check title, look for past tax liens as well. Lots of reasons. So number 2 on our list is those too cheap to be true bargain listings. What in the world would keep you from buying a property in San Diego if you found a good deal? Because I love living in San Diego, and everybody who loves living in San Diego will tell you that you've got to be very careful of the unincorporated or hazard-prone properties. Homes without full city services, in flood zones or wildfire risk zones. Now, of course, San Diego isn't really a huge flood zone property area. I say that, but we have built a lot of homes and dwellings, shall I say, in areas such as Mission Valley. Mission Valley is kind of just a dried up riverbed. It used to be cattle grazing land back in the day, and without exception, when we have our heavy rains, because remember, it never rains in California, but man, it pours. There's a reason that they say that, and it's because generally it's true. We do not have light, misty sprinkles. Generally, when it rains, we get deluges that pour. The ground cannot absorb the water. It runs into the dried up riverbeds, which rise and then flood. So we do have flood and wildfire risk areas. And if you did purchase a condo in Mission Valley with underground garage, you are at significant risk of that garage flooding and your car being involved in that. So you do want to keep that in mind. Insurance is higher in these areas. It can be incredibly higher than some of the coastal zones. You do want to look at your wildfire zone maps and your flood zone maps. Lower resale value. When you turn around and sell it, you're going to take a lower resale value. Just like we talked about in my last video in Where to Retire, if you purchase in an over 55 community, you have less pool of potential buyers, and therefore the price will generally be affected. It's kind of the same thing if you're going to buy in wildfire or flood zone areas. Smart people are going to be advised by professionals like me who will advise them of the risks, and the rewards have to be great enough. Now, that reward may be a lower price, or it may be flexibility and closeness to where you work. It may be worth it for you, because let's face it, it's not every year that we're having floods and wildfires, and most people realize that the risk can be pretty low in these areas if your due diligence is done properly and you're prepared, right? So always use hazard maps, flood and fire, get your natural hazard disclosure statement, which is a document that's ordered and paid for during escrow and will inform you of all of the environmental things going on and the challenges that you need to be aware of in that area. Also, you want to avoid dwellings that are on soil or erosion type landscapes. There are a lot of canyons and hillside dwellings, and in certain areas of San Diego, our soil is quite unstable. Mount Soledad is one of those areas, and there are multi-million-dollar homes built there. I've read the engineering report from the 1960s, which strongly recommended that homes not be built there. I think it's called sandstone and claystone or something, and at any rate, it makes for massive runoff and landslides, as we've all seen in footage over the years, especially after wildfire burns, where we have the scars, and then when the rain comes down, there's nothing to hold the mud. So get with a professional, or me, or somebody on my team, and we'll get you hooked up and make sure that you don't have to deal with wildfire floods and unincorporated or hazard-prone areas that could turn out to be not the dream home you were hoping for. Let's move on to the next type of property that you really want to be careful about, and that's homes with sky-high hidden monthly costs. They have low payment illusions, big mortgage with no awareness of the HOA, taxes, insurance, or special levies. You really want to calculate the total cost of ownership when you're purchasing a home. And homeowners associations are one of the types of homes that you may want to avoid. And the reason that I say this is a couple of different reasons. This year, as of January 1st, 2025, condominiums and townhomes are required to have a structural reserve inspection around the integrity of the stairs and the balconies, so that they have enough money that they collect in their HOA reserves and put into account that they can repair these things on behalf of the homeowners, because they collect your monies and then distribute them to fix the roof and paint the exterior, etc. If you get into an HOA that is underfunded and you don't know how to read these paperworks, you can get caught owning a special assessment that will cost you tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars. How do I know? Personally have been through it myself, not here in California, but in Florida. The Champlain Towers collapsed a few years ago in Miami, sadly killing several people. And so Florida passed a law requiring structural reserve studies on all of its structures, 3 stories and over. My beach condo was built in the 1980s with literally 0 building inspections, which we didn't know when we bought it. Hard to see those sorts of things, but we got special assessed. And I'm here to tell you, it's not anything that you ever want to go through. It will bankrupt people, and the HOA does have the power, if you don't come up with that $50,000 or $100,000, to foreclose on your property very quickly, so that the rest of the building doesn't get drugged down by 1 or 2 owners that can't pay. So it's really, really a big deal. Be very careful in investing in any property that might have hidden costs or costs that you cannot control. An HOA is a cost you cannot control. So before you bite that HOA pie and become the HOA president and get involved in those high density condominiums, townhomes, or even neighborhoods, single family, that have HOAs, make sure you check the condition of the financial stability and the future plans that that homeowners association has, who's in charge, and if you do buy into it, get involved so that you know, attend the meetings, go and participate in your community. Have you ever had an issue? Today's question of the day is, have you ever gotten into one of these situations that you just were really, really regretful that you purchased? I offer my buyers a love it or list it for free guarantee. So if you purchase a home with me and you don't absolutely love it and you need to get out for a reason, I'll list it for free for you and we'll get you into your dream home. Leave me a comment below. I'd love to hear any stories that you've got about nightmares that you've had with houses, or I'd love to hear your great experiences too. Let's not just share the losses, let's share the wins. Talk to you soon. Okay, the last type of home that we're going to talk about, and I think this one is really, really important. For me, having moved out here 20 years ago, living in San Diego now for 20 years from Atlanta, Georgia, one of the things that I discovered, and I would have told my younger self earlier, is buying a home far from your lifestyle needs or from your work. Buyers focus only on price. They neglect the commute, the amenities, the lifestyle, the proximity to the children's activities or whatever they need, their work. It really, really can create a lot of isolation, frustration, and unexpected lifestyle costs. For instance, you love the beach, you're a surfer, but you really decide that you're going to move to El Cajon, which is about 15 miles inland, because you can get a big house and support the lifestyle that you want. But then you discover that there's massive traffic for you to surf, and so therefore your passion doesn't happen because you're caught in traffic. These are valid life concerns. They really, really, truly are. And many of us in San Diego make the choice to live much smaller, close to the coast, as opposed to in big houses inland. And the reason that we do that is the weather. When you stay by the coast, 60 to 76 degrees, almost without rain year round. We'll go 8 months without a single raindrop. I'm not exaggerating, people. If you're looking for the perfect weather, less than 3% of the world has weather as fine as San Diego. Mediterranean, semi-arid climate. I love living in San Diego. I love it. I can't say enough things about it. I know we've got our challenges, so you don't need to put those in. Yeah, put them in the comments. I don't care. They don't bother me. I'm used to it. I work around it. I create my lifestyle around where I work. I don't sit in traffic. Traffic is a big deal, but if you're going to invest, give me a call. I do know the nuances of all the different little communities. If you're working from a military base, if you're with Qualcomm, if you're going to be commuting to South Bay, whether you get to, be a digital nomad and choose wherever, put a pin in it, just give me a call. Let me help you out. Let's talk about it. If you're a retiree chasing bargain homes and you're not considering proximity to, the kids or the grandkids or the activities that you like, that can be quite a challenge. And you want to get out and you want to talk to the postman and get out and bike and walk the area. Just take a look and make sure before you invest that they meet your lifestyle needs. For the people that love the dune buggy, glamis out in the desert lifestyle, a lot of them choose to live in Santee and Chula Vista inland. Why? Because they can park their large trailers, their motor coaches, their dune buggies and razors. They can load them up and it saves them a good 45 minutes to commute out to the desert for the weekend. That's their lifestyle. That's what they do. That's where they choose to live. Those of us who love the coastal lifestyle and we love living at the coast and surfing and paddleboarding and kayaking and sunsets at Sunset Cliffs, those of us, we choose to live by the coast. You do pay a premium for that type of lifestyle. So here's your safe house checklist that you want to pay attention to if you're going to buy a house in San Diego. Keep in mind, these are the top 5 homes that you absolutely want to avoid, or at least talk very carefully with your realtor about before you invest. Your lipstick flip homes, your bargain priced monsters, your hazard zone homes, your low payment illusions, and homes that don't fit your lifestyle. Most people don't realize these traps until it's too late, and then they decide to move. I've got an example for you. I have a family that bought a home out in Ramona. Ramona is an inland community way out in the high desert. It's dusty, it's dry, it's hot, but if you buy a home there in January or February, you are going to think you died and went to heaven. It's beautiful. Those people in Ramona had moved from Santee Lakeside, and they just realized once they got out there after a year and their insurance costs skyrocketed, that they could have stayed closer in that extra money they were paying for wildfire insurance, and they decided to sell and move on. So it really is a thing to know these. You want to buy smart, you want to partner with the right professional, and I've got a free relocation guide for you here, or just reach out and call me. If you're thinking of house hunting here, please reach out. Let me know how I can help you. You deserve to buy a beautiful, worry-free home in San Diego, and it all starts with knowing what not to buy. So thank you for staying till the end of my video. I love each and every one of you. I love making these videos for you, but I'd also love to hear from you and what you guys would like to know in the future. So drop a comment below, and as always, stay sunny, San Diego.